There is a lot of uncertainty since being here back at my place without my rabbits. There was a lot of aggression when it came to how much wind was actually hitting my building and was present in the area. I was unaware that such things could happen. I'm also unaware that my rabbits acted like a buffer and that whatever this curse is, only got stronger since their absence. Wind's been rustling trees. Knocked a few down, nearly went through a few buildings. But none of this is what I wanted when I gave the rabbits away. To start destroying people's homes, destroying people's lives. But even with all of that, I still had one thing that I had to do. Yeah. One thing. And that was Luciferio. I had to know. Even at this very moment, I'm not very confident in that exorcism that took place. Not as I'm not sure what happened, uncertain, but more of had I known how it would have turned out, I wouldn't have done it. So, where to even begin? So there was a storm brewing after I dropped off the rabbits, after I got back from Nance, after being alright, at least as alright as I could be, around knowing that this curse not only isn't going to get better, but is going to have to come with me no matter where I go. And I'll just have to learn how to manage it. Yeah, manage it. Anyway. I came in, set all my stuff aside, and Luciferio He wasn't where he usually was, and his presence, I would say, was very confrontational, which has never happened with any of my rabbits, especially not Luciferio. Luciferio, since I never really talked about their mannerisms before, would usually avoid me, would only come around if I had food. Like a dog or a cat, very much the same kind of presence from Luciferio, which set him apart from the other rabbits, of course, made him very special. Which set me on edge, made me very uncomfortable with how the situation had turned out, with Luciferio being so much more intimidating. Yes, you heard me right. Intimidating. There's no rhyme or reason why a rabbit should ever be that terrifying. Or at least not have the presence of... I'm getting ahead of myself. So, got through the door, set my bag and my keys down. He approached me. I would say he, in a more Luciferio, approached me, but there was a bit of whatever was Luciferio in the room. Because for me, I can see whether something is present versus someone present. My rabbit was in the room, near back towards the corner of the living room. Whatever was in Luciferio's stead came with a very heavy approach. There was no look at me from Luciferio, because the presence that was Luciferio back near the corner wasn't moving and was just staring, like when my family members would come by. Looking back at it, that should have gave me a hint. Should have made me more aware of exactly what was in Luciferio, or rather who was in Luciferio. That presence, that thing that came hopping towards me, whatever the hell that was. I honestly couldn't tell you. Not from I don't know what it is to whatever it could have been. Could be easily wrangled into a comprehensive presence. Just whenever this thing came towards me, came with it trauma. A trauma I've never known before. It was debilitating. So fucking heavy. Heavier than anything I've ever come across. Felt like it was ripping me apart. And just seeding doubt as it moved towards me. I'm not proud of what comes next. Everything in me was fight or flight. The only small amount of me that could take any pleasure of what I did was mainly instinctual. So, this thing, in the presence of myself and Luciferio, took the image of Luciferio. This is the best way to put it. Whatever took over Luciferio only held it for a short period of time, which is good. But I kicked the shit out of Luciferio. Only reason why that is funny is because how uncomfortable and how downright dead to right that I had no choice. I bind my hands on that, though I really shouldn't. There could have been 1,000 different ways that I could have done better in that situation, but I didn't. I chose not to. It's really fucking bad that it makes me smile in this moment, but so when I kicked sound like a terrible person. When I kicked Luciferio, when I kicked him, I didn't really kick him. I had come to a point where I stepped up on this thing and it peeled me out of my body. So from my perspective, because I've astral projected before, though I choose not to, I stepped in to kick Luciferio's invader possession body and my body fell. And fell hard, like gravity itself moved back, hit me, and slammed my body behind me. I thought it was my bag at first. But then when I made contact with Luciferio's body with my foot, whatever that thing was screamed and shot and hit the corner of my wall. So yes, I kicked Luciferio, but I also didn't kick Luciferio, which is why it's funny in a very uncomfortable way, in a very nervous way. So now there's this weird hole in my wall up in the corner. And it's not just a non-physical energy hole. It is a very physical, you can see it with your eyes, no matter who you are, hole in my wall from where I kicked it to. Now, if you're wondering what happened to Luciferio, after I realized I was out of body, Luciferio just laid around for a while, didn't really move much, would look at me, breathing on his side, his legs out, but not moving. And that happened for 3 days now. Luciferio hasn't moved. Luciferio he's been up and moving around since, and he's a lot more lively. The storm also passed. Roughly around the time that I kicked the invader in Luciferio's body out of his body. And I've actually had family staying over for the past couple of days, since I didn't really want to sit around and just hope that Luciferio wasn't, like, paralyzed from his experience. Hate to traumatize the little guy after him having to witness that. So they spent some time here, and they took to Luciferio. Mainly it was like little kids. My cousin's second wife and her kids, they came by. She always really liked the rabbits and couldn't stand being around like anybody else except for me and the family when she was like around everybody else. Mainly because things would go missing or things would break. So there's that. Weirdly enough, things didn't escalate like they usually do. Like when our blood is in the same room, because the kids, of course, they have the curse with them, but like the sun was shining. There was no storms. There was no incidences. And then now I also have more family over. I'm just kind of like seeing how much I can do before things go really, really bad. But so far, nothing. I have to take a time out in storytelling to just say I apologized to Luciferio. I took him out. I treated him really nice to some treats that he really likes. The whole nine for him. I didn't kick him physically. I want to state that just in case anybody is feeling some kind of way about that. I didn't kick him physically. I kicked whatever was inside of him out of him. Okay? And it left a stain on my wall out there. But, you know, he's fine. He's absolutely all right. As far as I'm concerned, he is the pinnacle of health. He even comes by, gets pet, and then runs away. Way more than he used to. So our relationship is better. Who knew? If you ever wanted to have a better relationship with anybody, please don't take this advice. But just kick the spirit out of them. Not good. Don't do that. Do not take my advice. This is not an advice channel. Although, from what I can tell, the entity that used to look like Luciferio that I exorcised from the others, from the kids, and now from Luciferio himself, they sometimes appear like the rough outline of the image that they would take would appear in the hole that's in there now. And yes, the cousin's wife. I don't know where she really comes from, but anyway, she's seen it. The kids have seen it. My younger uncle on my dad's side, he's seen it. My aunt on my mother's side, 3 times removed, she's seen it. Yeah, everybody's seen it, so they're not all that spiritually gifted. So I have to admit, I've been tempted to walk over there, stick my fingers in it, see what happens, throw stuff at it, see what happens. For some reason, I get this impression that it's like the final thing that I'll do. Like if I'm going to pursue this any further, it'll come to an end. Whatever this is, whatever this curse is. Yeah. Once I'm ready, I'll be taking a trip. At first, I really didn't want to know, because I've come so close to it, and things got so much worse before they got better. And even by that standard, it's still madness to try and make any of this better by still pursuing a course that nearly had me in a fetal position over it. But something's changed since then. Since actually having to talk about this with somebody who actually gets it, to kicking the entity out of Luciferio, just I'm hesitant. But I also can't hesitate anymore. I can't be insecure about what comes next because I'm going to have to go through there. I've already started this and I'm going to see it through. Not necessarily for getting rid of the curse or anything, though that would be nice. That's kind of like A through Z. That kind of could be the Z thing, but like everything in between then and there is much better because all I want is my rabbits back. Even if they're not buffering my curses for whatever reason, they've been my best friends. So getting them back is definitely everything between here and ending the curse. So when it comes to that, that's what I want. If I get a choice in the matter, that's why I choose. I choose having my rabbits back and then having the curse removed. Not only for me, but for my blood, from whatever it is that connects it to all of us. Which might be the same reason why they took the rabbits. For the reason the rabbits disappeared, because they took the rabbits. Whatever. I'm going to see this through. At this point, I have to. Shrinking away will do nothing. All it will do is empower whatever it is that had the guts to step up to me, hop up to me. And I won't take that. Not from whatever the hell this is.